All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to day 12 of the series, of this 14-day series. This is a big day. We're almost there, and it's a Friday, so I'm going to get right to it. First, I want to say thanks to you guys who've been rocking with us from day one. This has been great. Whether you're watching the replay or watching live, it's been great having you here. All right. So today's topic is Dear Event Planner, here's how to find the right coach for you. And I think this is a very, very important topic because you want to feel empowered, not pushed into something, forced into something. We're going to talk about being empowered because we all want to grow as entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are leaders, right? And so I want to talk about how you things that you should be looking for, ways to make a confident decision, and of course, how you can work a little bit with us. All right. So by the way, my name is Faye Shella, owner of Statuesque Events. We produce amazing events around the world. We've been doing it for 13 years. I am also a coach to event planners. I've helped event planners have their first six-figure years, like literally 10xing their sales. So their first six-figure years. I've helped event planners have more streamlined businesses. I've helped event planners to just attract more of the clientele that they want, make more money while working with fewer clients. This is what we do. We work with experienced event planners to grow their businesses in Planners Who Profit. If this sounds like what you're interested in, make sure that you apply to the Planners Who Profit Accelerator. The link is in the chat, is in the description box. For those of you guys who are live, I realize you don't see it yet. So I'm going to drop it in the chat. The link to learn more, to apply to our accelerator program. It's just an application. It's just an opportunity for us to learn more about you and then to discuss next steps and what's the right fit for you. All right. So we're doing this series for event planners because a lot of you guys are longtime viewers of our channel. We wanted to do something special at the start of the year. So today's topic is Dear Event Planner, here's how to find the right coach for you. This is a really big topic for me. I've always shied away from talking about this because I never wanted to feel like I was pushing anyone into anything. I never wanted anyone to feel bullied, but I realized that a lot of people need like a big like pep talk on this, right? And I'm gonna just guide you through it, right? We're gonna go through 5 steps. The first step is look to see if the coach has clients like you. It's that simple. Is the person that you're looking to coach you, do they have clients like you who have had great success? The reason that this is important is that there are a lot of people who come to me and they're like, hey, we have, I went to this other coaching program and they just ripped me off. So now I don't know if I want to work with you or with any other coach, right? Or people will say like, oh my gosh, working with you was so different, so much more transformational or whatever. And I always ask like, well, I don't want to know the person, but I ask specific questions to understand what the differences are. And a lot of times the person may be an event planner and they may be amazing, but they function on instinct. And so, yeah, they have an occasional seminar, they speak occasionally, but do they have clients that have had tangible results that you want? Right? Like, do they have clients like you that have had tangible results, like the results you want? What that means is, are their clients saying, thanks for helping me launch my business? But you're saying, I need to figure out how to get my existing business to 6 figures or to 150K or 200K. Right? That's something that's important to look at because the thing about it that one of my isms, I have a lot of isms. One of my big ones is that instinct is not transferable. No matter how much I try, I can't give you my instincts. I can give you my processes though. And so a lot of event planners, a lot of people of all industries are really, really good at their instincts, but they don't have processes. That's the difference between, I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's the difference between like a chef Bobby Flay, who is literally always on TV and has other people running his companies because he has processes for them on how to cook his food, right? Versus someone who's like, if I'm not in the restaurant today, everything's gonna fall apart. That person is an amazing cook. They're great, but they cannot transfer it into another person. So does the person that you're looking at, regardless of if they're in the industry or not, do they have clients like you that have gotten the results that you're looking to get? Right now, for us, we've gotten results. We've literally had people who took multiple years off from business and were looking to revamp back into business, and they had great success. We've had people who were like, I had one client literally who was like, I'm nervous because I only have like 2, maybe 3 galleries that I'm willing to put throughout my marketing, and I don't know if that's enough to take me to the next level. By the end of the year, she had a 6-figure business, right? Like, so yes, those things were enough, but like being able to know, like, oh my gosh, this person understands where I'm coming from. Right? Like this person made more in like a month or a month and a half than they did in the entire year prior. Like these are transformations that we've actually have. I'm not just talking theory. And so I think that you want to make sure that you are always comparing apples to apples. There may be people who have flashy marketing or people who are that you like personally, but you want to make sure that you vibe with their with that you've done your own due diligence to see, do they actually service clients like me before you move forward. Don't go with someone who focuses on beginners and then be upset later that you didn't get what you wanted from them, right? Because they were probably upfront with what they do and what kind of clients they serve. All right. Number two, look for testimonials. I've kind of touched on this a little bit, but it's your job to look for testimonials. It's your job to see people's track record. So, fun fact: before I started the Planners Who Profit Accelerator, I actually was already coaching. I've been coaching people for a couple of years one-on-one because I spoke at a lot of events, and almost every time I got off stage, I would have someone tell me, "Oh my gosh, how do I work with you long term? How do I get more of this? Your eyes on my business, helping me move forward." And I didn't really have a good answer, so it was more like, "Let's chat one-on-one." I didn't like that because most people kind of use that time to vent about things they didn't like, which I don't mind listening, but I wanted to strategize. And so I like creating my own structure that I kind of put you through, which kind of gets you those results, right? But I did that for a while and I got some results. And then I created like a cohort of a program that was supposed to be for everybody, a marketing cohort, but 75% of the people were event planners. And then I started to see that they were asking questions beyond marketing. They were asking so many sales questions, so many timeline questions, so many like, oh, how do I manage this difficult client questions? And I said it would be really cool to have a space where I could just answer all these questions and everybody could feel empowered to learn these things. Like I was like, this would be really cool. So I created it, right? So I shelved the marketing program. It was called the Visibility Vault. I shelved that to focus on event planners. And those event planners had amazing testimonials. So even when I launched this program, I already had testimonials. It was not, oh, pay me a whole bunch of money to experiment on you. I already had testimonials. I'd already seen the results. And the results that I got from that program shocked me how quickly they came, right? And then when it became Planners Who Profit, the results came even faster, right? And that was like, okay. I mean, I knew it was going to work. I just didn't know it was going to work as quickly. And it's stayed that consistent, And so the testimonials, what testimonials can you find? If you just Google Trustpilot, trustpilot.com, it's a review site for online businesses. We're an online business, not a local business technically, because we service everyone. Trustpilot and Planners Who Profit, you'll find a bunch of testimonials there. We have testimonials on our website. If you go to Instagram.com and look up the hashtag PWPWins, so PWPWINS, you'll find a whole bunch of hashtags there. Reviews, right? The ones on Trustpilot are submitted. The ones on Instagram, many of them we tagged the business owner. Like you can see that these are real testimonials. Look at them and see if this is what you want to, this is what you want to be able to see in your business, right? Do the research, right? Of course, we present some for you to see, but I can't put everything because frankly, we have a lot of reviews and some of them are very long. So I can't put everything in a sales page because you won't read my sales page. So do the research. If you want to convince yourself, you want to be sure that this is the right direction, you want to make sure you do that. The third thing is you got to make sure you're investing in a way that's realistic to the transformation you want to see. I've said this before, but you cannot expect to download a $49 PDF, and that's going to be the thing that transforms your business. And then next year you have a six-figure business. It's not going to happen that way. It may give you some ideas and tips, and then you find something else with some conflicting information and you try to work it together and you just you'll probably spend years and years going that way, the truth, right? So it costs money to be coached. It costs money to be coached. The average business coach is charging at least $10,000. Like it costs money to have somebody in your corner coaching you to the next level. However, depending on what you're looking into, if you're looking for a coach, by the end of that period that you're working together, whatever level you've gotten to, you'll be able to maintain it for years and continue to grow, right? Using what you've learned. We teach organic marketing. You can use that for a long time. Our clients who were in our first cohort, it's been like 3 years since some of them graduated. They're still doing very well, right? So it's like you want to make sure that it's a one-time investment, which over the time and seeing the results, it's just, it's more than worth it. I have a client now, like I think I mentioned a while ago, joined our program about 2 months ago and has already made 20K in new sales since then. So she's already made way more than what what she's paid. If she was on a payment plan, I mean, way more, right? And continuing to move on, continuing to move forward. So yes, it's an investment, but instead of looking for the cheapest option, you got to be realistic about the transformation you want. If you want tips and tricks, $49 things, $99 things are great. For tips, tricks, ha 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 moments, webinars, that's cool. Like maybe you're just like, I just feel like I want professional development, but I don't really know if I want to go, if I really care, if I really care to really grow this business. You may be nervous. Growth may make you nervous, or that's fine. But if you want that transformation, you got to be realistic about the transformation you're looking for. Also, not just in money, but are you going to be one of 1,000, or are you going to be one of a dozen, or one of 20, right? Like that's a very different question to ask than, oh yeah, how cheap is it, right? Because if you're one of 1,000, you're joining a webinar, it's a bunch of people talking, like it's a very different experience than having a coach who knows your business, like where you don't have to keep explaining who you are. Like we know who you are, continuing from where you left off. So you got to be realistic about the transformation you want and the depth that you want, both in pricing, but also like, what am I looking for? What am I getting, right? Am I getting someone who's actually looking at my business, actually looking at my assets, actually paying attention to what's going on with me, right? Or is it someone who's just going to just shove a bunch of information my way? Is it going to be an upgrade to YouTube? Right? Or is it going to be coaching? So I think you have to be realistic, like when you look at what you're getting, relating to the transformation that you're getting, right? Like, and make sure that what you go out there and seek and choose to buy is realistic, relating to the transformation you're looking for. The fourth one, set a deadline to make a decision. Set a deadline. Set a deadline. I don't know how many people I've spoken to people who have been saying for over a year or over a year and a half, oh my gosh, I can't wait to join your program. And when I asked them, like, how's business going? It's in the same place it was before. So I keep talking about, let's not even talk about 6-figure years. Let's say you're currently making somewhere between 10 and 20 a year in your business, right? Or 30 a year in your business. And you wait 3 years to join a program that unlocks a 6-figure year. How much money did you lose in lost business? Right? Like we've had clients who've told us like, man, I'm so like, I joined because I was tired of losing money. Or I've had a client say, I joined immediately. I heard of this program because I was like, the longer I wait to solve this problem, the more money I'm losing. Like I'm losing all of these sales, right? The person who said it, it's on YouTube. If you look, there's a video that says how 2 planners made over 14K in 6 weeks. Faith said it because I asked her, like, you joined like the next day after we spoke. So what was it that made you move quickly? And she's just like, I was losing money. And she's like, and obviously when you look at what happened, the fact that I made 20K within the next 6 weeks, I really would have lost those sales, right? If I hadn't done the work. So I mean, what I thought was right, right? And so I think that you have to make a decision, right? I think that make a deadline to make a decision. That's going to force you to actually do the research as opposed to saying, I'll get to it, I'll get to it. Like if you say, oh, I got to make a decision in 2 weeks, I got to make a decision in a week, that's going to force you to actually make the decision in 2 weeks and do the things you need to do, like do the research, schedule a discovery call, like ask questions, read the website, jot down questions that you have before moving forward, like do the research. I'm not afraid of you researching me. I'm not afraid. Frankly, there's already a lot out there. There's a lot on YouTube. You can hear the things that we've been teaching. You get like I'm not afraid of you researching. You do your research, right? And then set a deadline to make a decision about whether you're going to proceed or not and which way you're going to proceed. That's really, really, really important if you truly want progress. The thing about our programs, I mean, we have people at varying success levels. And one of the biggest differences is how much you hesitate before making a decision. Right. And I'm not talking about your where you are naturally. A lot of us, my natural state, like when I first took a personality quiz, I'm naturally a visionary that doesn't get anything done. And it's amazing that when you ask most people about me, they'll tell you, like, if you want something done, ask Faith, right? Because I taught myself how to fill in that major gap, right? And by pushing myself, by being aware of it, as opposed to using it as an excuse. So I think that you have to make a decision and say, hey, I'm not gonna just say, "Oh, well, I'm indecisive, so I'm just gonna be indecisive." Like, no, this is something I really want, so I'm gonna make a decision. Like, don't wait a year to make a decision to catapult your business. If you really want to catapult, find a way to do it sooner, right? Like, you don't wait 5 years to then catapult. Like, you want to do it sooner so that you enjoy the benefits of it for a longer period. So set a deadline that makes sense to you, that's realistic, right? For you to make a decision about whether you're going to be proceeding or not, and which way you're going to proceed. And so I just want to summarize the first four, because the last one is what I've been working up to this entire time. And this is, I don't know if you guys noticed, but this call is actually more of a coaching call than it is a sales call. Like, I'm coaching you into how to make a decision about moving your business forward. The first one is look to see if they have clients like you, right? Look to see if they have testimonials from people who are like you in your industry doing what you're doing, who have results. Look and research testimonials, look for them, right? Research the testimonials and the results. Make sure that what you're looking for is realistic to the depth of transformation that you want, right? Make sure the pricing, make sure the access that you have, all that is realistic according to the depth of transformation that you want to see in your business. The next one is you want to set a deadline to make a decision, right? So that you don't stay stuck and you actually see that catapulting. And number five, after you've done all this, own your decision. Own it. I think that this is what's keeping a lot of people stuck. Again, we focus on experienced event planners, and as someone who focuses on experienced event planners, a lot of the people who come into our programs have been in others, whether within this industry, with someone else, right? And a lot of times people are like, I really want to do it, but I already invested with someone else and it was a waste of money and it didn't work. So, you know, that to me sounds like you still don't trust yourself. Right? That's kinda like a girl saying, "You know what?" Or, let me not say a girl, because I know a lot of the people who watch this are guys. It's kinda I mean, are women. So it's kinda like that guy who says, "Oh, I don't trust women because I asked a girl out to the prom when I was 17 and she said no, and it broke my heart, and my heart is still broken at 35." Right? Like, it's like you're and even if someone gives you that story at 21, it's not that far after, but you're still kinda like, so you just not like you haven't moved on from that, right? Like, and it's not really as much about moving on as much as it's about learning the lesson, right? Have I made decisions that I didn't love in the past? Yes, but I learned the lesson from it, and that's what made me move forward. No one does everything perfectly. As a matter of fact, perfectionism will keep you stuck in the same place. You'll probably never move, right? Or you wait for the perfect opportunity which doesn't exist, or all those sorts of things, right? So you got to learn the lesson. Okay, maybe my lesson was to make sure the girl likes me before I ask her out. Or maybe the lesson is that some people like you, some people don't. Move on and find somebody else. Like, learn the lesson and continue moving forward, as opposed to depriving yourself of something that you want and need and thinking that it's affecting everyone else, right? The second thing is, it's kind of like, I think an example that would hit a little closer to home is, if any of you guys have experienced it, it's kind of like if you get an inquiry from someone who's like, "Oh yeah, I had an event planner before, but she was terrible, and so I'm thinking about moving forward with you, but I need to know that you're going to be available to me 24/7, and I need to know that you are going to." That you're going to give me a discount because I already lost money on the other person. And they're basically punishing you for things that someone else did, right? Chances are you're gonna be like, either no thank you, or you're gonna be like, I don't know if I wanna proceed with this, right? And I think that, and you would see that person as like what they're doing as wrong, and almost like, can't you see, like, this doesn't have anything to do with me? Like, we're going to take you across the finish line. We're gonna produce this amazing event for you. Like, I'm trying to make this a beautiful experience for you going to the end, right? And I've had that experience where someone fired someone else and worked with me, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, you made it amazing." Makes me happy, right? But the thing about it is that, and that's great. And I've also had the experience where someone um, felt it almost they almost didn't wanna let go, and they didn't wanna really work with me and follow my processes because of something that happened in the past, and we weren't really able to make progress on their event and on what they wanted because they were so afraid of what happened before. So what I'm saying here is not even about you saying, I'm not even necessarily saying get over what happened before or whatever. I don't even want to say get over. It's so insensitive, but really learn the lesson from whatever happened in the past, so that you can move forward and get the things you want, right? And I'm not saying it just to say, okay, forget about everything that happened in the past, give me your money. But But also, even if you do proceed, you got to be open to make the moves, right? Like when you don't own your decisions, when you always hesitate, like I don't want you to work with me in a 6 month program and hesitate until the fifth month. Like I don't want that. I don't get anything from that, right? Even if you pay on time and all of that, I don't want to see you constantly hesitating and questioning and, oh, I don't know, is this right? Did I make the right decision? Like that's energy that could be better used actually doing the work, right? And so those are some things that I want you to own your decision of whatever it was. The decision for many of you is those four things that I said. Look to see if they have clients like what you had. I had someone come to me and say, that they applied to my program, they chose not to go with it. They went with someone else who has a bigger following and is not anywhere near the events industry. That person gave them advice, did not turn into anything. They told me that my free content moved them further than that person's paid content, right? And they're so scarred from it that they don't want to proceed with me, right? The lesson wasn't don't get a coach from that. The lesson from that was make sure that the coach you hire understands your industry, which usually means that they're either in the industry or they have multiple clients who are doing exactly what you're doing and are seeing results. Research testimonials. Some of you guys are not researching testimonials. You don't know if the people even have testimonials, right? You're just like, oh, this sounds good. I'm going to do it, right? And then when you realize it's not working or it's not working for someone like you, right? Maybe it doesn't work for someone like you who took a 3-year break to have kids and is coming back, right, into the industry or something like that. Then now it's like, oh, I wish I knew this. But some things like testimonials will show you that, like, especially if they're thorough. Our testimonials are pretty thorough. Make sure that what you're asking for is realistic to your transformation. You can't expect someone to be going in depth with your business if they're selling monthly webinars to you. There's nothing in depth about that, right? That's just like a more curated YouTube at that point, right? And then the last one, set a deadline to make a decision. That's less of a burning, but yeah, you want to make sure you do that, right? Don't say, oh, that's something to keep in mind. Inflation is inflationing. It's just a fact. Just like your prices go up, so do ours. So when you wait 3 years, you're going to find a new price if the program even still exists. We may have changed it, turned it into something else. Like things continue to morph and change, and opportunities come and go, right? According to what makes the most sense. So you want to make sure that you are positioning yourself to own your decision. This whole session that I've been teaching about leads up to that. You want to make sure you do what you need to do to own the decision that you make and give yourself fully to it to be sure whether or not it quote unquote worked or not for you, right? So those are my points for today. I hope that this series has been helpful for you guys. Also, I hope that this encourages you to apply to the Accelerator program. The link is in the chat description. It is also in the main description of the YouTube. For those of you guys who are live, you'll see it once this goes on replay mode. I do see we have quite a few people on the live, so do me a favor, and I'm going to give it like a minute or two because I know there's a YouTube lag. Please let me know if you have any aha moments, like anything that I said that you're like, oh man, I didn't even consider that, or that was a good reminder for me, or that was really helpful for me to as I think through my next steps when it comes to coaching. Please leave that in the chat. And of course, as always, if you have any questions, leave that in the chat. I want to make sure that I don't just talk and leave, right? I'd love to answer your questions and acknowledge your comments. So if you have any comments, anything that stood out to you, that was an aha moment, that was helpful as you're processing and thinking about your next steps, please leave it in the chat. And if there's anything that you have a question about, please leave it in the chat and I'd be happy to answer them. So I had a meeting right before this. I've been talking a lot. So I'm going to have some water while I give you guys time to ask your questions. I wish they had like a Jeopardy button on this thing so we could set the do 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 do. All right, it looks like we don't have any questions or comments. You guys are all just watching. I also may be dating myself. I just realized that I may have dated myself playing the Jeopardy theme song. I don't even know if Jeopardy's still on air. Jeez, I need to go Google that and see if they're still like live on air or not. But I'm going to check that out. I see a comment that says, not experienced, but I would love to know if you have something for me. Um, so yeah, we do have a self-study program for beginners. It is designed to help you um, book and work with your first paid client. Just want to make sure you guys can still hear me. Is that it's designed to make sure you book and serve your first paid client, and it's called Planners Who Profit Foundations. I just tried to switch screens to get the link for you, and the live stream went a little weird. So I'm just gonna try and put it in the chat by memory. But yeah, we do have a self-study program. The reason that we don't mix beginners and experience is that it's a totally different thing to get your first paid client versus um, I'm sorry. I believe that's the link. It's a totally different thing to get your first paid client versus to get your get like grow your business. It can also take a little longer, and also um, going through foundations. Honestly, we've had people go through foundations and a month or two in are like, oh my gosh, I booked a client, right? And you just have to test your own maybe follow through, maybe on a project that you're not being managed on. I think that that kind of shows like being able to do that and make it through that, go after the clients and all that. It's really helpful. If you can do that and get your first couple clients, then you can also be ready to join us in the accelerator. But it's great building a website, setting up your social media pages, like we walk through all of that, and it's building a beautiful website. I'm not even talking about like a janky one. Getting through all of that, having a tracker to manage the planning process, finding your first few vendors, all of that stuff is there. But a lot of the stuff I just mentioned is not about going after clients. It's actually you have to know how to plan events before we start trying to go after a whole lot of clients, right? Especially like higher end. So we do have that. I did drop the PWP foundations. I don't usually lead with this largely because it's, most of the people who are coming are looking for more experienced options. And I try not to have too many links so it's not confusing. But that's a great option to do to move forward. And just like I said, set a deadline to decide whether or not you're going to do it. If you have questions, send me an email. Right, I will answer your emails about it. You can email weddingaccelerator@gmail.com, and I'll answer your questions. Or you can DM us at Planners Who Profit on Instagram. Any of those places, get your questions answered, right? Learn more about it. There are a couple of testimonials right on the page actually that you can reference, and then just let me know, right? Like let me know what you can just check out actually if you decide to proceed. Also, in addition to foundation, something that would be even better is also to come to Planners Who Profit Live. It's a great way to be surrounded by people who are doing like phenomenal things in their businesses and to see what's truly possible. I think that seeing that helps you to actually be, stick with it and put your all into your business. Because of course, a lot of people, when you're first starting out, the main doubt you have is, can I actually make money from this? That was where I was. And a lot of people I know is just like, am I gonna be broke if I do this? Right. And the truth is, as with any business, there's a ramp up phase. But if you're good at it, if you stick with it and put in the effort, no, you won't be broke actually. So the next one that I see is the whole series was really an eye opener, and I'm super grateful for all the information that you gave. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. I'm looking forward to seeing your application to the accelerator so that we can take it to the next level. I know that we talked a lot. There was a lot that we did here through this series. I talked a lot about what needs to be done. But as far as like how to do it correctly, accurately, and reaching the right audience and all that, that is a done with you solution. It's not something that you just throw on the internet and that's right? Like we got to kind of walk through it together. And that's what we do in the accelerator program. So I would love to see you apply to attend to do that. If you're like on the fence, if you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to, go all in, another amazing option is to come to Planners Who Profit Live. Join us, meet with us in person. It's going to have a 2.5-day intensive to work with myself in person, honestly, and with other planners. Like it's all I'm gonna say is that for anybody who misses it, you're gonna be feeling the FOMO for real. Like you're gonna be asking yourself, why did I miss this? Like so that is a great option for everybody. If you're on the fence, if you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready to to put as much in, or if I'm still I want to stick my toe in a little bit, or maybe I want to stick my whole foot in, right? You stuck your toe in a little bit with this. Now I want to stick my whole foot in before I decide to actually like go through coaching, like longer term coaching. Do that. We have webinars. We have a webinar. We have it's not really a webinar. They're sales sessions, like prep sessions before the event. The first one is next week, Wednesday, exclusively for people who registered for the event. We have another one on Tuesday. We have another one at the end of February. We have another one at the end of March. So when you register now, you actually get access to like in-depth coaching leading up to the event, right? So you get to see what it feels like to be coached. Like you get a really good sense of it. It's really good. I wouldn't recommend missing it. All right. So those are some things I would love to see some of you guys in the comments sign up for, ask me questions about if there's anything outstanding, and set a deadline for when you're going to make a decision and then do it. Right. We kind of have to manage ourselves as bosses. As entrepreneurs, we got to manage ourselves. So make sure that you're doing that. But I'm available and my team's available. Kelly, you'll probably hear from as well in my emails. We're available to answer any questions that you have about attending the event, about coaching and all that. And we'll walk you through. All right. So thanks everybody for joining. This has been phenomenal. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday and enjoy the rest of your weekend. All right. So cheers and enjoy the rest of your day. If you missed any part of this, of course, the replay page will be up shortly.